Almost 30 years ago now, I acquired this at a car boot sale. The exact car boot sale was in Cheddar in Somerset, and it was quite a famous car boot sale at the time. Actually, no, sorry, it wasn't Cheddar. It was at the old Thorney MI ground in Wells, Somerset. So there was also a Cheddar car boot sale as well. But yeah, this particular piece came from a stall which was there every week at the car boot sale at the old Raycall grounds in Wells, Somerset. And I've had it for years. I've never powered it up. I don't really know what it does, but it looked interesting. So it has Cinecorder on the top, and it has these couple of bits on the side that lift up, and there is a large Goodman's loudspeaker, which a lot of this stuff actually had at the time, so you can see the loudspeaker there. And inside we have this, which obviously plugs into somewhere. I would guess probably around the back, actually, so there's probably an output around the back that you plug it into. There's also, not sure what this is, Notary Cinecorder for reversing tape to erase, etc. The distance from the record/play head to the erase head is 6 frames on the tape timer. So it took me a while to actually work out what this was for, and it's still taking me a while now to work out what it's actually for. I've just noticed there's loads of crumbly foam inside there, so before I do anything I'm actually going to grab the vacuum cleaner and get that foam out of there so it doesn't infest the rest of the unit. Right, here we go. So, bear with me. There we are, that's actually doing a nice little job. That's a lovely crumbly foam. There we are. So I'm still at a bit of a loss as to what it actually does, but the clues for me came when you open up this compartment here, because in here there's this rather nice little box: Cine tape, sprockets, splicing block, etc. What I think this device allowed us to do, or allowed somebody to do, was to edit old 8mm video material. So we've got this new old stock valve here, which no longer has the type of valve on it anymore, but I'm sure some of you, by just looking at it, can probably tell what it is. To me, looking at the pins that are connected, there's 2 heater pins, there is a grid, and sorry, there's an anode, and there is a cathode. I think there's 2 cathodes actually. There's 2 anodes, and there's obviously a ion trap at the top. I think that is a double diode. There's also another box here. This one's a 6BQ5. It's a rather pleasant looking little box. It is rather pretty, if you can call these things pretty. It's probably never actually been opened, ever, to be honest. This could be the first time it's ever been opened, which, do you know, it would be a shame to break the seal on it. That is an EL84, so we don't need to look inside there to tell us what it is. EL84 is a pentode and normally used as an amplification valve. It's the smaller brother, technically, to the EL34, and it is a half of an ELL80, which is a double pentode amplifier. A lot of Grundig equipment used ELL80s, and ELL80s are very hard to come by, or they certainly were when I was looking for one. This is a little Cinecorder sprocket, which is, I'm not even sure if it's still in there. I'm not sure if this is just the wrapping for it. It looks like that's just the wrapping for it, unfortunately, so that might not be in there anymore. But the nice thing is, all of the packaging is still there, and I'll even keep this little old bit of sellotape because it, it's part of it. So we'll just stick that into there. What else have we got? We've also got, let's squeeze that in. That squeezes in up here. That's squeezed in around there, somewhere like that. We have a KGM perforated tape sprocket unit to use with Cinetape Type A with UMIG P8 and P8M Imperial projectors. So that gives you even more of a clue as to what this actually does. You can see that there. So with old 8mm, you had a magnetic audio track in some cases on the actual film itself. That audio track would allow you to effectively record home movies. It also allowed you to actually play back material that you could buy in. So there were sort of pre-mastered Video 8 materials you could actually purchase. There's here what looks like some film, so I'm not sure if there's anything actually on that. No, that is blank, and there's also no magnetic track on that one. However, there are what looks like a roller and what looks like a drive sprocket. As you can see, the little sprockets on there, which would obviously attach to the film itself and allow the film to be drawn across and through the projector. Or in this case, the machine that would be used to edit or record the soundtrack. I'll just put that into there. So who manufactured this? Well, from what I can tell, it's a company called KGM, and we also have a editing scale and splicing blocks. So it looks like there's just the splicing block in there now, so that would obviously allow you to slip the film into there and splice it at the point that you wanted it to be cut, so that you could obviously edit the audio itself. So what else can we tell about this? Well, it really is much like any other reel-to-reel recorder of the time. So it looks like, I guess, it could probably play standard reel-to-reel cassettes. There is this assembly over here, which I would assume is putting the film onto. There is this little thing here, a little counter, which set it back to 0. This would be, I would assume, the frame counter. So this would probably be where you would feed the film from. And then I guess the adapters would go onto there. I'll be honest with you, I don't actually know, because, as I say, this machine has always been a bit of a mystery to me. I mean, it's really the first time I've actually had this out in years. I keep thinking about getting rid of it, but then I don't, because, to be honest, I don't even know what it is myself. So how am I going to describe what it is to somebody else when I don't even know what it is myself? My first assumption is it is something that you can use not only to edit reel-to-reel cassettes, but also to edit Video 8 film with a magnetic soundtrack. Now, we do have a nice little magic eye valve, and I'm not sure what's going on inside this actually, as I've never had the inclination to take it apart, although before we come to switch it on at some point I probably will want to take it apart and have a look inside there. Just really sort of check any sort of valves, any valves, mainly capacitors and resistors, aren't heavily decayed in any way. So, do you know what? Let's get the lid off, let's have a look inside of it. So, if I just lower this down. Now, is there a way in at the bottom? So there's no way in at the bottom, so you're going to have to go in top side. Now, to be honest, this has actually fared pretty well, looking at it over the years. I think it uses a flat blade, so I'm not going to bother getting my complete toolkit for this. I'll just grab a flat blade, just move that out the way again. And this will allow me to have a look at the audio heads anyway, at the very least. So I can take this off, pop these off, and there you go, that gives you the audio heads. So audio, I'm guessing audio and arrays in there. I wouldn't mind getting this off so we can have a really good look at them. Which that allows us to do actually. So let's have a look at what's going on in here. So there is I'm guessing one of these is going to be an arrays head, one of these is going to be an audio head. I'll be honest, I'm not exactly sure which one. There is this, which seems to adjust. Oh, that adjusts the path of the tape. So you can actually see these move here, these rollers move, and that adjusts the path of the tape across the heads themselves. So I'm going to guess that this one's probably audio, this one is probably arrays. That might not even be the case, they could be, both of them actually be audio heads. There's then obviously this mechanism here. That is, if I remember rightly, hang on a minute, back, forward, play. So it obviously releases the brakes on there and allows it to ultimately play. That is record, so that allows it to record. And see pinch roller as well. That probably needs a really good clean up, to be honest. Well, the rest of these rollers actually look okay. They don't actually look too bad at all. So that's a motor there. These are just drive spools. Sorry, take up spools and supply spools. So that should, that's in play. So something should engage with that to allow it to take up. So not really much exciting there. So I think if I want to get inside it properly, let's take this off, which does, if you bring it forward, it does come off like that, so you've got room to work on it. Pop that somewhere out of the way. There we go. What I should be able to do is, if I upend it like so, there are, on the base, just move this out of the way slightly, and up, 3 screws. So I'm guessing these are what's going to be holding everything in place. So I want to keep these little eyelets handy. Keep those to one side. That one feels, I thought that one was going to be longer than it actually was. It's a nice thing about equipment of this era is it was all sort of made for serviceability. So it was made in such a way that it was easy to take apart, relatively, easy to service, relatively, and you had almost like a range of innards, like this whole section, that would fit a number of different manufacturers' equipment. Now this, I'm not actually sure if this just comes out. It does. Look at that. Literally just pulls out. But that does give you access to be able to get this out safely and without damaging anything too much or too greatly. So there's, oh yeah, there you go, there's one on the side there that I need to release. There we go, so that's the one on the side. And that gives me ample access to all of the circuitry. So what have we got? We've got a valve here that looks like it's almost coming out. One of those ones that's heavily shielded. That's an EF86. Looks okay. Doesn't look like it's blown at all. I'm not sure what F was in valve terms. So that's an EF86. Just put that back in. Put its little shield back on. And its little surround. Which I'll do that the other way around. So this one would go on first, like so. So these are sprung loaded because they keep the valve in place. You tend to see this on a lot of equipment that tends to move around a lot. And that's why this valve has actually become dislodged, because this wasn't clipping in on the other side. So if I just move that around like that, that should now, and it still isn't, that should be clipping on the other side, but it doesn't seem to be. So what I'll try is put this on. It should come in this side first and round it off. With this side. To just help it a little bit on its way. There you go. There you go. Yes, you tend to find a lot of these on equipment that's going to be moved around a lot. So some of these smaller valves will be shielded in this way, and also this will keep this firmly inside the machine itself. What else have we got? We've got a massive transformer over here, which is quite standard. We have the aforementioned motor, which is there. We have amplification valve. This, which looks like that is an EZ, so that'll be a double diode rectifier of some description. So that's a double diode rectifier. You've then obviously got the ports on the back here. So we've got a monitor, which is where our speaker would go into. Play LS 15 ohms. We've got a projector. RC, I guess that might be remote control. And obviously on the back here as well, we've got a voltage selector. So that goes straight into lovely, that goes straight into the transformer. So if you have the wrong voltage selected, it will go up in flames. That's always nice. And then you've got a 3-pin mains plug on the back here, which goes to this and a capacitor. I think that is an old style mains suppressor. I'm not 100% certain, so don't quote me on it, but I do wonder if it is. But then you've got a blue and a red cable. Blue looks like it goes to somewhere. Actually, that comes into this loom here, I think. I think that actually goes possibly to one of these, or this selector here. So this selection button arrangement there, which is play, record, impose. A bit strange if that blue cable came there. So that's going straight off of the I'm sure that's going straight off of one of these pins. So first off, it goes down to, oh, that's an earth pin, I think. So blue is earth, red is live, black is neutral. So earth, neutral, live, which is this red one, goes down and straight, looking at it, so live, round, loop around here, it's tied into that loom now, so that goes around and then into the machine itself. So that must be powering the machine, and it looks like this transformer is being fed eventually, but it's actually coming via this diode. So there's got to be somewhere in here that is taking the alternating current coming in. That is then being rectified, looking at it, by this double diode rectifier. So that's coming into transformer. Then you've got these two going out, black and brown coming out, and then they're going down to what looks like a distribution board of a series of resistors and capacitors, and I'm guessing that they are going to be feeding the rest of the valve heaters. So the heaters are direct current, not alternating, so there is some kind of rectification stage taking place, and it looks like that rectification is happening in that valve there. So that's why the input direct from mains is doing a bit of a loop around the machine to go into, I think it's going into this capacitor actually. I can't tell for certain because there are so many red cables in here, but volume something else. I think that's oh no, that's on motors amp. So that's actually switches. It could be going into these switches first, then it's rectified. Then the rectified current is coming out and feeding the heaters of the valves, and then obviously the valves are being fed with the fed with the current that they need to be fed with. That's how I think it's working. It would be easier to see a circuit diagram for this. It is a relatively simple circuit, so you can to a certain degree work out what is going where. Now it does have this projector cable on the back, socket on the back, so I do wonder if it's actually synchronising with a projector of some description. So the next thing that I'd probably want to do is, looking at the way that this is wired, potentially take a more modern IEC connector and somehow fit that in, or fit a flex, solder a flex directly onto the cables coming off of this. That isn't my preferred approach. I'd rather use some kind of socket, or try and find a round mains cable that will fit this. They may still exist, they may still be around. But inside of it, I mean, you can't really sort of tell completely if everything is good, but it does look overall pretty good inside. It doesn't look too shabby at all. One thing I might do, actually, I wonder if I can do this. So I'm not certain if this will work, but right, my capacitor tester. With some of these multi-pinned capacitors. £31 picofarads. Yeah, I don't think that's the way you can test those. Probably test some of the ones with 2 pins on them, but that might be tricky. Looking at it, it looks like a lot of the voltage is actually dropped down to, or stepped down to 12 volts coming from here. But obviously by the thickness of these wires, there's probably quite a lot of current coming out of here as well. They're still soldered on, which is handy. 3,300 picofarads. So this is a capacitor here of some sort, of variety. £44 picofarads. Yeah, it might be because I'm trying to measure it in circuit, so that is a possibility. Let's try it again. Still not 100% on that one. What's this? Don't think that's a capacitor. This is though. This is a little 50 microfarad affair, 250 volts. Come on. 38 picofarads. Yeah, I think it's a good idea measuring these in circuit, to be honest with you. This one looks a bit melted, unless it's supposed to look like that, but I certainly don't think so. That looks like that has been melted at some point. Yeah, you can see it's crumbling away. So this 0.1 microfarads, 250 volt, I think that is a capacitor. That'll need to be replaced. This will need to be replaced because it looks like the ceramic shielding's breaking away from it, so I need to replace that. What I'll do actually, I'll just do a bit of a zoom in and grab a photo of those. Yeah, I'll shed a bit of light on them. There we are. The rest of them look okay. So that is 0.1 microfarads. There's some really odd values in here, sort of very low values. Oh, It's got a lovely resiny smell to it, which isn't surprising. So it is basically what this is all about. And what's this? This is a... So I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. Here we have what looks like absolutely enormous solenoid. So we have a list of things that we potentially want to replace and a list of things that we want to obviously do with this. Right, let's get this out of the way. That, looking at the fact that it is connected directly to an output, is, if I'm not mistaken, the output transformer. So that is your output transformer, which you didn't even see because I didn't have that focused. That's your output transformer. Right then, let's grab the box it goes into. It doesn't actually look too grubby, to be honest. Just do a check for worm and other bits and bobs. And thankfully it looks okay. There is a lot of weird fluffy stuff around what would have been the old glue. So let's get that out of the way. Oh no, that's just, I think that's mould. So this is rather worryingly, that's paper. Some kind of paper covering. They really don't make these things like they used to. In some ways, thank goodness. Just realised I wasn't even focusing on that. Yes, in here there's this. I'm not sure if that is... That might be the plywood flaking away, actually. Yes, that's a plywood panel. So it looks like that is flaking away slightly. Right, let's get this back in. It's not sitting right. Still, what's in the way? Oh, there's a clip at the front it's got to go into. There it goes. There we are, that's in. There we go. And let's screw it back together. There we go. It's easily done. So I don't think there really is much else I can do with this. It's rather nice though. It's sort of reduction gears. Well, not reduction gears, just gears. Which drive the little counter. Something's just popped off. That's gone into there. There it is. So it just goes on to there, by the looks of it. And then that, I guess, would be no, that's the wrong size. I guess you'd have something on there to screw that into place. Then that would go onto there. And that would clamp. Guess that would clamp the film. Interesting. Anyway, I think that's it for today. So if you have found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again very soon. Take care. And that's actually screwed in separately. Take care, and thanks for watching.